Hello and welcome back to Reeling in the Peers, where we chat about and discuss all sorts of movies. My name is Gary O'Brien, and joining me today to talk about the 2023 animated sci-fi fantasy adventure comedy Nimona is my very good friend Eoin O'Boyle. So stick around, we hope you enjoy. Cheers,
I'm sure that was picked up.
Yeah, it might have been. It's your 10th time on the podcast.
10th time.
My God. It's old enough to vote in some countries.
It's old enough to drink in my illegal country.
Oh, what's your illegal country called?
Owen Nation.
Owen Nation?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, because my name ends with N, and then it leads like directly into the word
okay, so
nation.
it's one big word.
Yeah, one big word, Owen Nation.
Owen Nation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, how do you like it?
I'm probably not going to visit there.
Yeah, Clive Owen's there.
Clive Owen is there?
Yeah, he lives there.
I've been wondering where he's been.
Yeah. Like, guess how deep a hole my brain had to go to find an Owen actor.
Owen Wilson.
Oh, fuck. That's way better.
No, I like Clive Owen because Owen Wilson's already in shit.
Yeah,
what's the last movie Clive Owen's been in?
I don't know, but it wasn't in Owen Nation.
No.
Not filmed there. We have just strict policy on filming.
I am imagining we'll talk about this movie eventually, but I'm imagining Owen Nation is like, it's like Wakanda but Europe. Like Eastern Europe.
So white.
It's just yeah, exactly. It's just the whitest land. It's like between Liechtenstein and whatever country Liechtenstein is connected to.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just Owen
like
Nation
the
in there.
between Liechtensteins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah. I can imagine like there's just like no spicy food. We all are horribly dressed. And
Oh,
all women are unsatisfied.
Oh wow. I don't have anything else other than I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. I did it to myself.
But today you're here talking about a movie
Yes.
called what day did this release? Own Nation.
What date?
Yeah, in Own Nation.
In Owen Nation, this
Yeah.
movie was actually released about 2 years ago. When,
Okay.
When Disney had their hands on it. We got like the preview screening back then.
Are you the reason why the movie was dropped by
I
Disney?
had so many complaints. Okay,
You were
alright.
like, this medieval nation. Could it be called Own Nation, perhaps?
Exactly.
Because it's not given a name in the...
There's no advertisements for Own Nation and how easy it is to get passport and property. So I feel like you need to get on that, because why else do I fund you if it's not for my own
I
personal
feel like,
preference?
and again, we'll talk about this movie at some point.
Eventually.
I feel like Own Nation is where Ryanair flies to get to Liechtenstein. Because they wouldn't fly there directly.
That's true, yeah.
But they would say like, oh, it's close enough. It's in Own Nation.
Yeah, and just like get out of the airport, get a taxi for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
It sort of just goes around the nations. We pay him to do that. It's actually way closer.
So
than
it's
that
like a
if you
tour
walked.
bus is what you're
Basically,
saying.
yeah.
Okay.
Like we need to get people to stay somehow.
Speaking of getting people to stay, the listeners. to hear about this movie called Nimona. So Nimona. It's a new animated movie. Came out a couple of weeks ago on Netflix. It had a various amount of different publishers and distributors and such like that. Yeah. But for anyone who doesn't know, what is this movie Nimona about?
This movie it's a twist. It's a twist on your classic fantasy tale of monsters and knights, where there's a betrayal and our hero basically has to team up with a monster to sort of get to the bottom of things and why he was set up in such a way. Spoilers, he was set up. And and so he gets this handy monster sidekick who loves doing evil shit, voiced by Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yep, that was correct. I don't know why.
Don't ask me what the guy's name.
I will say, I was just sitting there being like, I cannot wait to hear this is going to come out. But that's right. Okay, fair. Yeah.
I think I nailed that.
Riz Ahmed was the
Riz
guy
Ahmed,
who plays
that's it, yeah.
Ballister Boldheart.
Ballister Boldheart. And then obviously the monster is called Nimona, our titular character.
Yeah.
Titular?
Yeah.
Titular.
Yeah.
Titular.
Yeah. Back yourself. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, okay, cool. Nailed it.
And it is a very fun time.
It is, it's an hour 40 minutes long. It's
even less
on Netflix.
Probably, I don't know.
It's on Netflix. Great handy watch.
Yeah.
Because it is very good. It's cool setting, good enough story, very like emotional story, but also keeps the comedy very well. So it's a very well-rounded movie I found.
Yeah.
Very
Podcast
small,
over. That's
yeah.
good.
Very small cast.
Very small cast.
Yeah, I think it's only something I realized
All only
afterwards.
4'2". Oompa Loompa sized.
Wow, is that
Yeah.
like promotion for the upcoming Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie?
No, it's a very disappointing, coincidence.
Oh, okay.
Because they were all busy making this.
Ah, fair.
That's why they had to get Hugh Grant to play an Oompa Loompa.
Oh, that's a good tie-in.
But yeah, so I guess how we're going to do this today is we'll do the non-spoiler section and then we'll talk a bit about spoilers as well. So I guess this will be a movie I'd recommend people go watch and not listen to the don't listen to the spoiler section, because there are some fun twists and turns in it.
Yeah.
And it is a very enjoyable watch for a midweek movie.
100%. Like hour 40, like you stop this podcast in 10 to 15 minutes and
But keep it playing.
Probably,
but
actually.
like
and then just
put it-
rewind it, and make a new Spotify account, and then watch it again from the
Yes.
start.
Yeah.
For normal reasons.
Especially the people in No Nation. I'm seeing the listenership there very low.
Oh, sorry. That's like me. Sinead, I've been trying to get Sinead to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, she does. In fairness, she's been very unhappy in Owen Nation. But
This is getting too
real. Moving on.
moving swiftly on. But yeah, no, it's a very, very fun time. And yeah, I guess how we came about this movie was I just kept seeing this buzz about it. It's this really like punk rocky animation style, and it kind of gave me
Heavy metal.
It gave me this sort of vibes of Arcane, which I know you loved. So I was like, oh, what's the deal with this movie? And you're like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
And
I have literally never heard of this movie in my entire life.
and then we watched it. And we were like, that's a very fun time.
Yeah, it was good. It was one like I skipped by on Netflix when I was looking for a movie to watch, and I just kept on. I kept on going. Kids movie next.
Yeah.
It's not a kids movie.
But it's funny enough, actually. Yeah. So we're getting into it now, but it's funny because this was in when I clicked into it, it was like number 7 in children's ranking today, and I was like, what the fuck are we getting into here today as well? But like, man, was I just so like, this gave me, it's not as good, but it gave me the same surprise enjoyment that Mitchell's versus the Machines did.
Yeah, I can get that. I think I still prefer Mitchell versus the Machines.
Yeah.
This is definitely up there. Like, it was good. It was. I think I put it probably along Puss in Boots for like as much as I enjoyed it. Like, I think it was not as well animated as Puss in Boots, but like that's gonna be fucking hard to do.
But and also when you consider the backstory around this, which we'll get into.
Yeah,
exactly.
Anyway,
But like,
no, like this was great. Like, it was just a great surprise midweek movie. Great performances. Music was fantastic. Story was great. I want more fantasy sci-fi now.
This was like, that was my favorite thing about this. It was the blending
so
of the two. Like, because it's all set in like this medieval
fairy
realm
tales and stuff like that.
But it's like 1,000 years after those.
Yeah.
So we have like phones and
internet and like YouTube essentially.
but it's still clung on to like the olden times and stuff, and it's a really, really nice world to be in. And if there was like, even like, I know I'm going to keep mentioning Arcane because it's like the closest thing I can compare
kind
it
of
to.
steampunky fantasy.
Yeah, it's just like, I'd watch a TV show of this because I'm really interested in the world.
That's when I finished the movie. I was nearly like, would this have been better as a TV show? Because I just feel like they could have done like a lot more world building and a lot more like into the characters, expanded the cast a little bit more. I know like this is a movie that's based off a graphic novel, so they were probably like limited enough in what they could like go off track with, and like they couldn't like reinvent the wheel when it comes to these characters or anything. But yeah, no, like I would honestly, I would want to see more of this.
Yeah,
and so I hope there's a sequel in the future. Maybe there will. Maybe there won't be.
Depending on how the movie ends. But you were saying that, and I guess it's not too much of a spoiler anyway, because like you said, it's based on a graphic novel.
Yes.
And I believe the original writer that had a strong influence on the movie, you were saying?
Yeah, he was heavily involved with a lot of the production. I know in the graphic novel itself, there's like the backstory basically is left very like up in the air of the character Nimona, but in the movie they picked one of the ones that he didn't write into the novel as a backstory, that one that he just wanted to see fleshed out. So it was cool, like the writer was just like, nah, fuck it, go off script, do your own thing. I've always wanted to see this on screen. So yeah, I like seeing that from a writer, like talking about like an adaptation of his property.
And to like it.
Yeah.
Usually,
he was actually a big fan of it, which is nice to see.
Who is it? What's his name? Frank? What's his name? The guy who did Watchmen?
Oh, I don't know.
Something Frank? Something Frank anyway.
Yeah.
It could not be Frank. I don't know. But let me be frank with you.
No, yeah.
His name is Frank. I gotta look this up. Sorry, it's gonna drive me and the listener insane because they're just gonna be like, you don't know shit. Yeah, it's not Frank, it's Alan Moore. Sorry, I'm thinking of the guy who does The Dark Knight Returns. That's a different guy's name, Frank.
Clickety clack.
The Dark Knight Returns. Frank Miller.
Miller. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry. No, but Alan Moore, every time there's a new adaptation, he's like, it's shit. I hate it. Burn it. Man. Yeah, he just hates every adaptation, where it's nice to see someone.
It's not behind the work. Yeah.
But as I kind of alluded to a bit recently, just at the beginning of this, the ownership of this movie has jumped around like wildfire.
Yeah.
And so I think there's like 7 writers on it.
I know Disney were involved at some stage.
Yeah. So how many writers here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 writers on it, because obviously it's gone through so many iterations. Yeah. So initially it was a production by Blue Sky Studios, and people would know them from the Ice Age movies, Robots. They did Horton Hears a Who. They did Spies in Disguise.
Okay.
Do you know that one?
I've seen all of them except Spies in Disguise.
So Spies in Disguise is actually directed by the same duo who did this movie as well.
Oh, okay.
It was a very fun time. Like, when I saw the trailer for Spies in Disguise, it was the one where Tom Holland gets turned into a pigeon. No, Will Smith gets turned into a pigeon.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, this looks balls. And I watched it.
Oh, I do remember this.
Yeah,
now.
remember that?
Yes.
And I remember going to it and I was like, you know, it actually wasn't the worst time. Mm-hmm. It was kind of, it was fine. But anyway, it was originally with them. But then what happened was when Disney acquired Fox owned Blue Sky. And then Disney got the rights to all the movies that they were going to make. Yeah. And then there's very kind of strong LGBTQ plus themes and representation in this movie. Yeah. And they were like, we can't do that.
We can't release this in China.
No. We'd have to cut most of the movie. And like for context, like the original author of this, I think is like a non-binary person. Non-binary and something else. I should actually remember that. But anyway, so those themes were very much present and at a core part of this movie because like you said, it's about this knight who's been disgraced, but also he's gay, and then this girl who has the ability to shapeshift, and people not being okay with the form she's taking. That's not a girl, and the problems and issues they have with her expressing how she feels
very
like
much
she should be.
Just like it's just like, what are you? And it's just like Nimona.
Yeah, she's like, it doesn't matter what I am. I'm Nimona. So those themes are in it. So Disney were clearly like, no, thank you. So they actually binned it, and then it jumped around for a bit. 70% of it was kind of done, and then it changed animation studios. It then ended up going to Annapurna, who have never made an animated movie before. Okay. They've done a lot of stuff that like you wouldn't consider in the same like realm as this type of movie. They've done like The Master by Paul Thomas Anderson with Joaquin Phoenix. They did Zero Dark 30, Her, American Hustle, Foxcatcher, The Bad Batch, very bad Jim Carrey movie. And I'll say that there.
Oh, I thought you want like The Bad Batch is like the Star Wars.
No, that's why I mentioned the bad Jim Carrey movie. Phantom Thread, If Beale Street Could Talk, Vice.
Jesus Christ.
What else? They did Missing Link. Never mind, I take it back. That's stop motion. But anyway, they've set up a completely different subdivision to make this movie effectively is what I'm getting at. They did She Said. Interesting. Anyway, so they took over this and then they distributed through Netflix, and it's just basically this hodgepodge of a load of different writers coming in.
Maybe that's why there's I haven't seen any like buzz about this online or anything like that. Like it's been very like under the water. That's not a phrase people use to describe things that are
under the radar.
Under the radar. That's in fairness, under the water. You are below radar.
Exactly. Yeah. Except unless you're a submarine.
Well, no, they use sonar. It's different.
That's a good point, though.
Yeah. Boom.
No way I'm getting my submarine its own nation. That and the fact that it's landlocked. I assume.
We built a canal, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
It bankrupted us, but it's getting better.
Okay. I came across this and it's good. I was weird to not be able to sort of attach it to a distinct studio style or anything like that.
Yeah.
And like you said, the animation feels very cheap. However,
very good.
I kind of got by that.
I really like the animation, honestly.
And I think some of the action scenes, because she has the ability to shapeshift, so she shapeshifts into different animals originally, and then we kind of find that she might be able to change that as the movie goes on. Yeah. But like, there's a scene where Ballister Boltheart, who's like this knight, he's only got one arm, and like he's having this big fight scene, but she's like changing animal as the fight changes.
It sort of like revolves around him, and she's just in the periphery doing wild shit.
And then the music in the background as well.
The music is great in this movie. It's really good. The animation is great. The movie is great. The comedy is very good. There was some just really fun like jokes that jokes that go throughout a movie. Recurring gags. Yes. Thank you.
I have it written here. That's what reminded me of.
Okay, there's a lot of good like recurring gags.
There's one great one about an otter.
Oh, that's my favorite one. I love that one.
There's a great joke about an otter, and there's a fantastic scene. It's so rare for me to one, laugh out loud in the movie because I'm heartless, and two, to laugh out loud in a movie at home.
Because obviously you hate this media in general.
I hate films.
Absolutely.
I prefer a good book.
Yeah, you once misread the line of just like if you've never worked a day in your life, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Yeah. But then you misread love.
Yeah, I'm working overtime effectively.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But there's a scene with the demon baby.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
So good, and the comedy is great, and a lot of that does also come down to Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh, she does. I honestly didn't know it was her for the longest while.
Yeah, of the movie. I was like, what's she doing still playing kids?
Yeah, I was just like, this is fantastic. Whoever this is, nailing it. And then Sinead was like, that's Chloe Grace Moretz. I'm just like, what the fuck? She's doing fantastic.
And I thought it was like she kind of has the same energy as like the Hit Girl sequel we never got. Yeah,
definitely. Actually, that was a great comparison. I feel like that could be the last movie I saw in it.
No, really.
could have been Kick-Ass too.
Let
I
me
don't
type
know. Yeah,
Frank Miller.
what else has she been?
Frank. Was she in the movie Frank by any chance?
I don't know, but another guy from an upcoming movie was in that movie. Guy who's playing Ken. He was in Frank.
What?
Ryan Gosling wasn't Ryan Gosling in Frank?
No, it was Michael Fassbender and Donald Gleason.
Fuck, I always mix those guys up.
What?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I do.
there you go.
They're just like handsome, tall guys.
Okay.
And yeah, no, that's on me. Sorry.
But Chloe Grace Moretz is good.
Yeah.
No, I don't see anything that you might have seen her in recently unless you watch Tom and Jerry or The Addams Family or Suspiria. Yeah, she's been off the radio for a bit.
Yeah, she's been.
Neighbours 2 was probably the last thing I saw her in, actually. Oh, The Equalizer.
Neighbours 2. I did watch Neighbours 2. Okay, yeah.
Other than that, Riz Ahmed's fine.
He's
I
grand.
think he's fun. He's
He does a
energetic. He's having a
serviceable
good
job.
time.
I think like he probably did a great job, except he was standing next to someone who did a fucking excellent job.
Yes.
So he's just been like washed out a little, I'd say, but still good. There was who else was there? There was the other night.
So Ambrosius Golden Loin.
Yeah, Golden Line, great name.
He's played by Eugene Lee Yang.
Yeah.
Who people would know from the Try Guys.
Oh, okay, yeah. He was fine as well.
I thought he was very weak. Now, apparently, he was the production's or the producer's only or choice for the role, and they styled the look of the character on him.
Okay.
I think I could have got someone else for it.
Fine.
But then again,
think-
it didn't take away from it too much.
I know, Fantasy did a better job than the worst performance of the movie.
It's not, no, like, so Beck Bennett plays a guy called Sir Todosius Sureblade. I get, he's jarring, but I love that actor so much. He's from SNL.
Yeah, no, I recognize the guy. I think probably what he was given was he was given a Will Arnett role, and he just didn't pull it off in the same way. Like it was very much just a case of like he was like a super obnoxious bully who just picks on the main characters and is very bro attitudes and like dialed up to the max. And it's really only a character when you see a character like that, you're just like, Will Arnett, obviously this is what he does, and then it's not him and it just comes off not as great. But
I will say there's a scene at the end where he high fives something, and that was very fun. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that.
That's very good. But RuPaul's in it as well.
RuPaul is in it.
Yeah.
I saw I don't know who he played, but
he plays one of the news presenters.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense.
There you go. Yeah. Again, that's why I kind of feel like this movie has.
Oh yeah, the news presenters are barely characters.
But like, I don't think you're getting RuPaul for a big thing. Is there anything else that we want to cover off before we get into spoilers?
I think that's it. Just go watch the movie, and as we said earlier, just let this keep on playing. Make a new Spotify account. Maybe move to Owen Nation. We get Spotify 20% off.
Oh,
to do some legal loopholes. The legal bit is we steal it.
Okay.
And then you can live there rent free for 5 months.
I feel like this has some weird like Saudi Arabia kind of like vibe to it.
Who told you about our funders?
Wait, so another country is funding your country?
Yeah, we're kind of trying. Like, I think the entire plan is to gaslight Europe. Into like just thinking maybe the Saudis aren't bad by making an even worse villain in the middle of Europe.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of villains, we should probably get to spoilers.
Yes, that's very true.
Okay, so let's get to spoilers. So, like you kind of mentioned, this is all set up by Boulder. What's his name? Fuck, Boulder. His name is just there's too many B's. Ballister Bolthart.
Yes,
two B's.
Boulder.
So he's set to be knighted, and he's the first commoner to be knighted, and it's meant to be someone with royal blood. And then all of a sudden, when he's getting knighted, he picks up a sword that shoots a laser and kills the queen.
Disconnect there from the fantasy world that you're in.
Immediately, laser from a
laser beam sword.
And then it's all about him trying to clear his name, and Nimona sees him being sort of outcast, like, hey, there's someone who hates the
world
establishment.
Another outcast killed the queen. My guy.
Yeah, and he's still trying to, be like, no, I'm the good guy. And she's like, nah, you're probably not though, because everyone hates you. So like, and she knows what it's like to be outcast and hated for many, many years. But anyway, it turns out that it's this person called the director. Immediately knew this was the bad guy because her name was the director.
As soon as she came on screen, I was like, she's probably the villain.
and it's voiced by this person, this woman called Frances Conroy, and she's done villainy roles before. So I was like, immediately it's you.
Spoiler.
Immediately you're the bad guy. And that's that. She's again like she's fine,
absolutely fine.
But I like the story of it.
The story's good. Some of it's not believable from like the
What
fantasy. Yeah, exactly. I know what I just said. Okay. No, like we'll get into it for a little bit long, but it was probably like what I thought was like the weakest part of the movie, but still just very strong.
I also just want to talk about, I forgot to mention this in the non-spoiler section, but the score of this movie I really enjoyed, and I was like, who the fuck did this? What sort of auteur, composer who's probably studied at the finest it's a guy called Christoph Beck. Okay, he's done some things, but he's done a whole lot of random shit, and I have a list of them here.
Okay.
So he did all of the Ant-Man movies. He did Frozen 1 and 2,
famous for their music.
yeah, Free Guy,
Famous for Ryan Reynolds.
all the Hangover movies,
Banging soundtrack.
Pitch Perfect,
Okay.
but then also Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief.
Is that like the bad one?
I don't know, he did one of them. He did like Muppets, Garfield, Due Date, Burlesque, The Internship. Like he just does the most he's done the most
This man doesn't know a genre. He just...
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's weird that, I don't know, I just really like the score he did for
The score for this was
and
really
the soundtrack
good. Yeah.
Combined.
Yeah.
Like you said, it has that sort of punk rock vibe to it.
Yeah, no, it just suits like it suits the movie to a T.
And I think one scene in particular, again, assuming people have watched it now, but if you haven't, again, why you not goes in, is there's a dance scene in this that I love so much.
Yeah,
because she shapeshifts into a shark at that point,
yeah,
and it's just the shark and him dancing around having a great time.
It's probably I would usually turn off during dance scenes, not like turn off the movie, but just like stop paying attention because I'm just like, it's a dance scene.
Yeah,
but no, this one's done well. It's not at the end of the movie as well. It's like a midway movie dance scene. Yeah. That's just like, you have fun with it. I'm just like, okay,
it's a bit of a montage scene as well.
This is a lot better than most dance scenes I've seen in movies.
Yeah, but I guess anything else kind of comes to mind about the movie in regards to spoilers, the story, or anything else?
Just the villain was not like, I think the worst part of the movie is like there's a bit where they trick basically the villain into admitting her plan. Yeah. But then it just goes, that wasn't me. It's a shapeshifter. Yeah. She was pretending to be me, even though like the good knight like came into the room and found like that his partner's sword on the ground, which I think is also damning evidence. But like he just like believed the story anyway, and I just thought it was just like, this guy has more than one point of reference to believe the person who's been lying to them the whole movie. I'm just like I'm kind of on the Boldhearts.
Ballister, Boldheart,
I'm just on Boulder.
And Ambrosius Gold.
Yeah, I'm on Boulder's side. This guy was a shit partner. He just didn't believe him at all.
That is true. Any point during the movie. And he chopped off his arm. I'm just like, the whole movie, I was just like, this guy is fucking shit. But that's why I think with the weak voice casting as well, I was kind of like, I don't like this dude.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, as well. Like speaking of just like getting his fucking arm chopped off, like I know it's a kids movie, but there's like a bit of stuff like people do die. And
do they?
The director at the end of the movie definitely dies.
Oh, but that's like, you don't see that.
Well, an arm gets cut off. Dismemberment in a cartoon movie. There was a squirt of blood when an arrow was taken out of a leg.
Oh, I love that scene.
Yeah, it was very funny. Like, it was just one of those things I didn't expect. And then there was like the innuendo of, is it cold? It's not cold in here. When they were like,
oh, yeah.
I was just like, okay.
There's a few jokes like that. Yeah, that whale scene was great. Where the whale, she shapeshifts into a whale and it keeps crashing through all the floors and stuff. Yeah. So then the Night Todd keeps thinking about like, he doesn't understand it's a shapeshifter, and he just keeps thinking there's a whale out there. And there's a scene where it's like, it's Boldheart and Nimona, and then they're running in a room and he's like, whoa. he's like, there could be a whale coming, or he said something like that, and then
it's just like, we need to finish this up quickly before the whale gets
that's
here.
it for the whale. And then there's another scene where there's a hole in the roof, but that's when she's transformed into a gorilla, and then Todd just goes, smaller whale. Like, I know he was a bit jarring, but like,
no, he did have good lines.
The writing was very good.
Oh, actually, no, probably my favorite running gag in the movie was the fucking otter bit.
It was so I don't even want to ruin it. I don't want to talk about it, but it gives me like such Lego movie.
Yeah. As well, like, it makes the world like lived in, where you're just like, these two characters who are barely on screen have had this conversation throughout the entire movie.
About an otter.
Exactly. And it keeps on coming back up. And it's just like, it just makes the worlds like more lived in, which I always appreciate about like good fantasy and sci-fi like that.
And speaking about the world being lived in as well, it's one of the writers on it was from Big Hero 6, and that kind of gave me that vibe of, the way it's like San Fran, Tokyo, or whatever it's called in that, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I kind of got vibes of that a bit, where it's like a blended city, where it's that medieval versus kind of
That's
sci-fi.
true, actually. Like, In fairness, I would like to see more shit like that, like the blended cities, because that, like, I think I just like that aesthetic of worlds colliding. I think it leads definitely like new stories.
There was one element of it that pissed me off, which was like they were all on like motorbikes, but it was like horses, and I was like, that looks shit. They're weird like horse bikes.
Yeah, the flying ones.
I didn't like those.
I wasn't a big fan of. I was not a big fan. Like, I didn't mind the whole like wall premise. Like, the whole point of the movie is like the city is in a wall surrounded by like huge fucking guns, and it was a case of like they would protect us from all the monsters outside, and the woman, obviously Nimona is just like, maybe you should go outside. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't trust everything you hear. But then like later in the movie, like the wall is like open and it's completely fine out, and I just find a hard time believing no one didn't realize there was a lack of monsters outside.
Well, you never know. It could be a whole like. You ever seen the movie The Village?
Yes.
Could be a little bit like that.
Okay.
But also, what I was thinking about, so at the end of the movie, there's a big hole in the wall because the laser and the Nimona crashed into it. But there was like a big lake. And I was like, are you telling me there was like a fucking whole water supply here for all these years and you didn't include that in the wall? Like that's fresh water right there, and you just blocked it off.
You're just like, you could have had fishing.
That's what I mean. I just feel like you've cut off a natural resource.
Yeah, well, it's like Civilization. It's like playing a game of fucking Civilization and like spotting like all these natural resources around. It's like, and you build around them. Yeah, just like, no, I don't want that lake.
They've got a disused well, and that'll do them.
Basically, it's haunted, Gary.
It is a haunted well. So
brings back bad memories. And
and I guess that's another part of the movie, which is Nimona never tells what how she got these powers. But we do realize a bit later on in the movie that she's kind of been around for a very, very long time, to the point where she's actually been around for as long as this settlement or kingdom has been set up.
She was like there with the first hero who set up the kingdom,
whose name was Glorith.
Glorith.
And the whole thing about Glorith was she fought away this great evil, and ever since then they've been living in Glorith's words, which is like, fuck you monsters, you could suck my dick.
Yeah.
And
quote from the movie.
There's a big statue, and they're all like, you know, all the knights get named after or get the blessing of Glorith, being like, you guys protect us or whatever. Yeah. So it's really fun to see, and then we see what happens, but it's really funny to see like paranoia over 1,000 years. Because
it's like Chinese whispers.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Except you know, the last whisper is a fucking, I don't know, 200-foot wall, and you're not near a lake.
I love like when the wall was like putting up, there was some protesters like, but there's a lake right there. Like the guys who could know about the lake. No, can't do it. Monsters get you in the lake.
Yeah. But yeah, so what did you think about that flashback then, which kind of reveals a bit of Nimona's backstory?
I liked it. Like, it was a good way to tie in the movie and the character. Like, I sort of had a feeling she was old from the beginning of the movie, because she was just like when the guy was like, "How old are you?" and she was just, the way she answered the question just left the impression she's a monster. She could be old. We don't know. But then I realized at some point in the movie, just like, oh, she can shapeshift, which is like basically constant cell regeneration. Yeah. So you're immortal because you.
And she went like, as you've seen, like a sword went through her, an arrow went through her. She cannot feel pain.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, that makes sense.
Oh, she can feel pain though. She can. Not physical pain.
Exactly. She's very sad, Nimona, and which is a good point. Like, it's probably a good point to get into that part of the movie where like. The whole movie, like a lot of the movie, is about the struggle of this character who is different to everyone else, who is not like is not a he or she, and doesn't identify as any of that, because they are their own thing, and the sort of struggle that lasts puts on someone over 1,000 years.
And I think that's one of the best things about this movie, but what makes the best thing about this movie is it's not the best thing about this movie. Yeah. If you can unpack that a bit, which is like, it's just a part of this movie. Yeah. You can feed into it if you want. There's obviously the more overt, you know, LGBTQ plus stuff, which like the two knights shifting. Yeah. But
in fairness, that was a cute moment.
No, it was. But that, as in Disney.
Yeah,
like,
Disney
be like, whoa.
Stay the fuck away from this.
So like, that's very overt. But I think the story of the struggle of Nimona throughout this whole movie is obviously one who is struggling with, you know, I feel like it's more of like a trans story. I kind of feel like
I definitely got like the trans vibe.
It's kind of like, you know, you're being able to change your appearance and be able to present as you feel like you should appear, and everyone having fears about that,
and like thoughts on how you should appear,
exactly,
and what makes other people comfortable.
Yeah, and there's a few scenes like that of like she's a gorilla at one point on a subway, and he's like, "Wouldn't you feel more comfortable being a girl?" And he goes, "Oh, would you feel more comfortable with me being a girl?" and stuff. And there's those sort of lines in it that, again, aren't super overt, but it just adds so much layers to the movie and just make it so great. I really loved it. And it's unlike anything I've ever seen because it's not the main point of the movie. It's not a overt struggle in the sense of like, there's nothing about Bolthard and Golden Line. Like, that could have been a female and a male thing, and it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, it was like two males.
The central plot of the movie is this guy redeeming himself, but then like this is just like integral parts of like the characters' backgrounds.
And for her, it's just she just wants to be who she wants to be. Yeah. It's not a case of, you know, it could be I don't know. I'm definitely overcomplicating it, but I just thought it was so fresh. It was so open-minded. It was so heartwarming that it's unlike anything I've seen.
It's done very well in the movie. Yeah. Like, it goes through like the fears and the anxieties, and then like the turning to anger at the end and things like that.
Like, it could be the equivalent of like, it could be literally the equivalent of like, someone could take it as, oh, this is what it's like when I have this sort of urge to present myself or be a certain way, but everyone has a problem with it. Like being a podcaster. It's like when you're like, the fear you go through in your life.
Man, if you didn't say it, I would have. Okay. We need more representation from male podcasters. I'm telling you.
Do you have any idea the shame I feel having to say
every
to someone,
day?
like, what? Hey, do you have any hobbies?
Yeah.
And just me wanting to stay in the proverbial closet and not tell people I'm a podcaster. I feel the pain.
I feel the same thing when people go, "Hey, Owen, what did you do this evening?" And I said, "I didn't record a podcast with my friend Gary.
I didn't make up a fake country."
What do you mean fake? I put a lot of time into this nation, Gary.
Okay. Oh, what's the currency?
The currency is euros. Honestly, we got into the EU on like a back.
Boyle Books was a good one.
But you know, that's like the crypto that we started.
I like that.
But no,
stay in the EU. That makes sense.
Exactly. Like
the EU currency.
Like, we're not technically in the EU. It's just more of a backdoor thing.
Are you one of those like Norways where you're just like, what's going on?
It's more like they think we're Liechtenstein still. I'm really hoping Liechtenstein's in the EU now. I have no idea.
I'll look up Frank Miller, but I'm not looking up geography.
Spell Liechtenstein, I dare you.
But yeah, I guess anything else about this movie? Do I have anything else here?
Honestly, it's just a good movie. It's an hour, 40 minutes long. It has solid animation. Makes you feel things.
Yeah.
What more than you want? If you want us to talk about this movie more, stop it. We're done.
Okay.
Movie's done.
Yeah.
We have any other?
I meant to say throughout the thing, if people have any thoughts on the movie, stick them on. Let us know via either the Spotify Q&A, the YouTube.
That could have been good to say before I said it was done.
Yeah, I know, but I'm doing it now. I'm gonna.
Okay.
Or YouTube or email reallygoodthepeers@gmail.com. Do I have anything else to say about this movie before we stop? No, I kind of had a very fun time. Highly would recommend. It's not a movie to put a lot of like expectations on. Of like, you know, I'm going to sit down and really enjoy it.
World,
But like, man, if you're looking for a light watch, perfect plane movie, and I say that in a good way.
Okay, I've barely been on planes that show movies, so.
No, but like on your phone.
Oh yeah, I suppose you can do that these days.
How long does it take to fly to Own Nation?
Own Nation? It takes about 15 minutes shorter than flying to Liechtenstein.
Okay, direct flight?
Direct flight, yeah.
There you go.
Remember, because Ryanair don't actually fly to Liechtenstein, they drop you off in an hour.
I feel like 15 minutes is not bad.
No, 15 minutes shorter than how long it takes to travel to Liechtenstein.
Oh, you're closer. I assumed you're more east.
No, closer actually. I know everyone makes that mistake, and then they end up in Gary Nation. But fuck that place.
Really, Gary Nation? You couldn't think of anything else?
That was like, I only thought I was going for that bit like 20 seconds.
Gary Nation.
Gary Nation. What do you, like? It was like, blame them. They're the ones who named it. I'm just talking about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, better watch it, because you know what's going to happen if you keep bad jokes like this. That'll when the Gary Nation will attack.
That's when they attack, when they hear bad jokes.
Yeah, because then we're going to attack.
Yeah, that's right. He's been like hyping up your military for a while. It's just a load of guys doing stand-up comedy. It's just a load of yes-anding.
Wouldn't it be great, and this is purely hypothetical and totally not a possibility, if someone really wasn't on board with the Young Nation joke?
Oh, I really, like, honestly, we started this podcast with it, and if they weren't on board then...
And that's what I mean. Oof. I feel like we've definitely alienated them.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, guys. Like, my humour is niche at the best of times.
Okay, we should probably stop. Oh, for your 10th time on the podcast, thank you so much for stopping. Thanks for stopping by, which I mean, I came here.
Clink.
No
problem. It was a lot of fun. I absolutely love that we watched this movie because we were just like, let's watch like a Barbie Oppenheimer movie, and it was just like pink is the color and war is in this movie.
Yeah, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. I don't know. Right. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, thank you for listening. to this episode and all the others. If you'd like to keep up to date with the podcast, you can follow at Reading in the Peers on Instagram. We're also on the TikTok. You can also listen to episodes on YouTube, and you can be sure to follow myself and Eoin on Letterboxd. Links are in the description. If you want to contact the show, you can email readingthepeers@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe and follow for more episodes. Give us 5 stars, please, and thank you. And if you are looking for discount codes to flights for Onation, you can use the promo code
John's Nation and GaryNationSuck.com. Yes,
.com is in the promo code.
Yes, it is.